Welcome back to the Stretch to Forward podcast. I'm Matthew, and here, as always, with Venushan, and it is almost time for fantasy basketball draft season. We've both recently started all of our preparation. We take it very, very, very seriously, especially you. We have like a 16 to 18 man league usually every year, and it gets really intense. So we have a lot of strategy ready for you guys today. We'll talk about who's in, who's out in the top 10, top 15. Obviously, some sleepers, and fantasy basketball is the most strategic one because it requires you to tank categories, really think about who you pick up, who you draft. So we're going to get into some of that strategy today to, help you hopefully win your fantasy league and make some smart trades down the line. So let's start off with the top guys in the top 15. I think this year it's pretty much undisputed that Jokic is the number one fantasy player, right?
Yeah. Has to be because he's durable. He plays almost every single game. He doesn't rest, and he gives you multiple categories. And he gives you unique categories for his position, which is assists, which you usually don't get out of his center. Draymond Green's probably the best other assist getters from the center position. So yeah, he gives you unique category stats, and he's durable, and he gives you a lot of points, rebounds, and all that stuff. And he's good at field goal percentage.
Yeah,
he's essentially amazing.
Yeah, he played every game this past season. And the thing is, you don't have to tank a single category with him because even though he's a center who takes a lot of shots and takes a lot of jump shots and threes, he shoots a high percentage from the field. He makes a lot of free throws. He makes at over a three a game, probably closer to 1.5 threes a game. Obviously, the assists, he's still over 10 boards a game. Maybe turnovers if you have him at center. You're probably going to want to think about maybe tanking turnovers, obviously, because he's pretty much a point guard. But really, you don't have to tank anything. Maybe blocks. He's not the best at blocking shots, but other than that, you don't have to tank anything.
Yeah. And even with blocks, you still surround him with a solid big man team, and you'll still be good because he still gets you traditional big man stats like field goal percentage, and good rebounding, and he still gets you a lot of those points too. The only thing to worry about him though is without Jamal Murray, and now that people know how the Nuggets are going to play, because Jamal Murray kind of wasn't there for the tail end of the fantasy playoffs and stuff. And Jokic is still doing Jokic things, kind of everything, nothing changed.
Yeah.
But now people know there is no Jamal Murray. They know how to play without Jamal Murray. So is that, turnover is going to go up more? How's that field goal percentage going to look? How's Michael Porter Jr.? Is he able to step up consistently? So that's a question, but he's still the consensus one pick.
Yeah. And Mike Malone did say that there was going to be a little bit of load management with him. Maybe it's minutes, maybe it's a game here and there. I don't think it's anything to worry about too much with fantasy. He's still the number one pick. I think number 2 and 3 are probably Giannis and Doncic in some order. Do you agree with that?
I would put Steph Curry above Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Just because he gets you the categories such as threes, he's going to win you essentially threes.
Yeah.
Points, he's literally the leader, season leader. He doesn't sit out back-to-backs even though he's above 30 years old.
Yep.
Essentially every other 30-year-old sits out back-to-backs. He doesn't, or at least he doesn't try to. Sometimes they get blown out one game, or they blow someone out. True. And he sits out one of those games. But now with Clay, they're always going to be competitive, and teams are always going to be competitive against them too because they're not a super team with KD, right? So he's still going to score a crazy amount of points. He gets you good percentages. He gets you good amount of assists too. I know that's a little, people don't kind of notice that, but he does get a decent amount of assists for fantasy. And he's just a solid guy to have because what you're going to get and it's consistent. And the rebounding is there too, 5.5 last year.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a zero there, right? Steals 1.2, not a zero there as well. He just does what he does amazing. Threes, free throw percentage, points, and then he chips in here and there.
Exactly. If you take Steph in the first round, you don't you can go any direction really because even though he shoots a lot of threes, his field goal percentage is obviously very high. Like you said, points. And he's not a 10 assist guy, but he's at least a 6 assist guy, right? So you don't have to really tank that either. And it's not like he turns the ball over too much as well. Yeah. So Steph Curry, he might be, I don't know if it's consensus, but he's definitely going to be in the top 3, top 4, maybe even 2. Giannis, I don't think Giannis is obviously good at every category as well. He's obviously a top 3 pick this year. As much criticism as he gets for not shooting a high percentage from three, he makes over one a game. And in terms of fantasy, that's kind of all you really need, right?
Yeah, Giannis is kind of the guy that I would build more uniquely around. Like I would try just tank free throw percentage when you have Giannis. You know what I mean? Like just don't care about that stat.
Free throw percentage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tank free throw percentage.
Yeah.
Just focus on field goal percentage, points, rebounds, blocks, steals, just make sure you get other bigs that could do that. Make sure you get, point guards who are more, steal oriented and then get a couple of scores here and there so you get at points. Just don't focus on like the people who are just threes. Don't go like chasing a Duncan Robinson or like a Kevin Herter, you know what I mean? Guys who just give you threes. Focus on the guys that are, more well-rounded, more mid-range scorers. DeMar DeRozan is like one of the best like fourth round partner guys or even third round partner guys for a Giannis. So look at guys like him, just have unique guys because the three is people always love to build threes, points, assists build, steals build. It's the most common build. Everyone builds it in category leagues. So with Giannis, you could just get to build all the other stats.
True. But if you played him at center, right, like his free throw percentage is bad, but for a center, it's not like
it's
ungodly,
not horrible,
right?
Yeah.
And he's making a 3 a game. He's still putting up center rebounding numbers and block numbers and steal numbers. So if you play him at center, like, do you really have to go any direction? You can go like anywhere you want, really, if you have him at center, can you?
Not really, because he shoots so much free throws. I think people need to realize quantity too, right?
True, because he's shooting like under 70%, but he's taking
10,
like 10. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. No, good point.
So
good
yeah,
point.
you have to remember like these guys' quantities at the beginning, like these guys are gonna affect you so much. Like if you have Steph Curry and you have a bunch of 70% shooters, Steph's gonna shoot so much free throws that you can still be like 80%, which is why I like Draymond Green. I had a free throw percent build with Draymond Green last year. I still won free throw percentage every week because Draymond Green shot one free throw the whole week.
Yeah.
And he missed it. Oh, big deal. He missed one free throw, right? So it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are going to impact your whole team because that's why they're the top guys, right?
Yeah. No, good point. Okay, so who else in the top? Who rounds out the rest of the top 10? Just like give me some names.
James Harden, obviously Luka Doncic, those points, assists guys, high volume. But Luka Doncic, the thing to worry about is he doesn't give you stocks as good as everyone else. So you kind of have to focus on stocks with everyone else, but he gives you, maybe that's something he improves, right? He's only his third year. Yeah. Hopefully he improves on that. James Harden was the fantasy GOAT at Houston. Now he plays with 2 other superstars. He's still a top 5 guy, but was the fantasy GOAT since Shaquille O'Neal, and we have to give him credit for that. Kevin Durant, he's boom or bust, but he's boom as in like he wins your league. He's bust as in he only plays 40 games and you miss the playoffs, but he's going to get taken in top 5 because when you have him there, you have to take him, right? Because he can win you. Like, you're going to regret it every time he plays. You can be like, oh man, I wish I took Kevin Durant. Sometimes he might not play. Then you get the more consistent guys, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Cat, guys who are consistently the last 3-4 years, top fantasy guys. Everyone knows what they do. They're amazing. And then how much are we at? We're at 9. We named 9 guys so far. And this is where 10.
Jason Tatum.
80 or Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Who would you go there?
If I had to pick right now, I think I would go AD, because he's been announced as the opening day or the opening day center. He's going to be day 1 center for the Lakers. So those boards, which were already going to go up from 7.9 last year, which was obviously a huge disappointment, should be 10, around 10. Obviously, he gives you the blocks. He's a guy who could possibly make an MVP push. So if I had to bet right now, I'd probably go Davis. But Tatum's going to be unreal too.
Yeah, the question with Anthony Davis's ADP is lower.
Yeah.
But people are high on him. So like you can see him in some leagues. Like you guys just don't look at ADP, and be like, oh man, like I might maybe if I got the 12th pick, I might sneak Anthony Davis. No, man, there's gonna be someone who loves Anthony Davis and might just take him like sixth.
Yeah, good
Because
point.
I won a championship back in the day when I took Anthony Davis with my seventh pick, right?
Yeah.
So like Anthony Davis in that 7 to 12 range can win you a championship. He's that good of a player. So don't estimate him to go around his ADP value. He probably will go higher. Jason Tatum, we talked about him last year. We told everyone to take him, and he lived up to it. He made
Oh
us
yeah.
seem good. He broke out to the top 10. He's a 26-point scorer already with great percentages. Just a great fantasy guy for the
Yeah.
next 20
Yeah.
years.
And like this year with, Kemba out of town and the team is even more centered around Tatum and Brown, Tatum being the
Yeah.
1A and Brown being the 1B, I guess. So yeah, he's a home run pick. If you get him at 10, like you got to feel good about that. One thing I want to bring up is how high do you think Towns can go? Because he was always a top 10 guy. Do you think he could even be
Yeah.
like a top 5 guy this year? Reportedly, he is down to 240 pounds after being 268 last year and 276 the year before. So he's lost a good how many pounds is that? I can't do math.
20,
30
pounds.
37 pounds, 38 pounds.
Yeah.
So maybe he's more durable, doesn't miss as much time. Maybe he gets more like steals and blocks because he's going to be faster and quicker on the defensive end while putting up those offensive numbers, which are always elite. Like he could be a top 5 guy.
The only problem with Towns is is he just gonna be healthy?
That's the thing. I like the
you
weight
had
loss makes me think he's going to be
yeah,
hopefully more durable,
yeah. So he just had Iron Man status the first couple years in his career, and then the wrist injury, and then last year like the mental health struggle and stuff like that, and then obviously with them tanking too, like that's also a factor too. All
Yeah.
that played out, and then obviously hopefully they're in playoff contention where he plays through some knick-knack injuries because Towns probably could have played way more games last year, but why, right? What's the
Yeah.
point? You're
Yeah.
eliminated from the playoffs. What's the point, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully they're in contention for like the play-in and stuff. Because if they're not, Towns are probably getting traded next year. So the Timberwolves he's gonna probably force that trade, right? So the Timberwolves are gonna be pushing towards that. But yeah, those top 11 guys, I think you're happy with, like
Yeah.
Anthony Davis all the way up to Jokic. You're happy with all those guys. It's a 12 spot where if I have the 12th pick, I'm like, man, like I missed out on those top 11 guys. Trae
Yeah.
Young is probably who I would take at 12.
Yeah.
Guy who I got the championship with last year, right? I had I think the 11th pick and got the championship with Trae Young because in our league, Kevin Durant fell. No one wanted to take a risk on a guy coming off an Achilles injury, right? I got Trae Young at 12, 11, won a championship with him. So I can't really complain about that. Trae Young gives you everything he wants, but he is another player that you need to build around like a Giannis because he's going to make you lose turnovers. He gets you literally 0.2 blocks. He's not going to contribute at all to that. His field goal percentage is awful.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to win field goal percentage with him. But everything else, he's amazing.
Everything else.
So yeah.
Yeah. Everything else. Yeah. Trae Young is the guy I have listed at the 11th spot. There are some other names to throw out. Paul George, going to be a big year from him. Bradley Beal, obviously. Vucevic is a guy who's ranked very, very high in a lot of these especially like Yahoo, like pre-draft rankings. What do you think about Vucevic going in the top 15 to 18?
I always avoid Vucevic personally because I don't know if he's proven me wrong the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But every time the situation changes, I'm like, I always talk to myself into believing that Vucevic isn't going to be there. Last year, my reasoning was, oh man, I don't think this Magic team's going to be good enough. They might just tank and sit Vucevic. Instead, they traded him and he tried to make a playoff push with the Bulls and he played amazing.
Yeah.
And this year, my reasoning is they have a lot of star players and he might take a seat, like a back seat, right? Because he's not that personality where that's going to be like, I need the ball or else I'm not functioning, right? He's that guy that could go sit in the corner, splash that three. But at the end of the day, he's been like a top 15 guy the last, like 3 years?
3-4 years.
Yeah. So he's going to be around that range because he just gives everything, literally every single category he's solid at. So even if he takes a step back points wise, he'll fill it in somewhere else, rebounds, threes, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Some guys just outside that top 15 range who are like kind of on the bubble. I wanted to bring up Zach Levine.
Yeah.
How do you feel about where do you think he's going?
I personally have a couple guys that I would take over Zach Levine.
Mm,
Like if you're in a points, take Westbrook, or if Westbrook fits your build, your
hmm.
unique build, maybe have like, I don't know, some type of unique build with him. LeBron, like
Yeah.
I can't see, like even though he's like ranked low, I still expect him to go top 15. Like I can't see him going that low. Kyrie, like I expect him to still go that
Yeah.
range. Bam, I think Bam, people
Damn.
are always high on him because as a center, you get those unique stats out of a center. So I think all those guys will go above him. And then you get that Zach Levine, Michael Porter Jr., Zion range, where it's
Yeah.
like these young guys who score a bunch of
Yeah.
points and
Yeah.
could get you those stats. Yeah, but I think LeBron, Westbrook, and those like more
Mm,
established names, might not be fantasy impact, might just be like real name impact over
yeah. Yeah.
shadowing fantasy.
Yeah. No, for sure. Two interesting names here. Sabonis. If you can get Sabonis and Jokic, that's a pretty
Yeah,
pretty deadly combination with the rebounds, assists, points, all that stuff.
yeah,
And Fred VanVleet is ranked extremely high. Uh, Pretty much tank field goal percentage because he shot under 40% last year, but 20
yeah,
points, four boards, 6.5 assists, almost 3.3 3 points made, 1.7 steals, 0.7 blocks. Pretty much tank field goal percentage. Turnovers will be up this year, but assists will also be up. So he's
yeah.
he's pretty solid in that 20 to 25 range.
Yeah, he's just someone who's gonna get you 20 points, 7 assists, and then he's also gonna be a league leader in steals.
Yeah.
Like he's essentially Chris Paul with bad field goal percentage, but
Yeah.
with more points, and he plays every game, and you don't have like that whole injury risk of old man Chris Paul is this the
Yeah.
year, right? So it's
Yeah.
just a little. He's kind of like a safer Chris Paul that you have
Yeah.
to tank field goal though.
Yeah. Like if you somehow
Yeah,
got Trey Young and Van Vliet, you're just
right.
tanking field goal percentage, but it's a pretty good combination, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Any other guys in the top 15 to 20 that you want to bring up?
Zion.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm avoiding him. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't gonna avoid him. For me, he just seems chunky in
Mm,
the in the media day interview. He just seemed extremely chunky, and I think he's gonna be another person that works himself into the season,
yeah.
and he's gonna be great when you look at it at the end of the fantasy season. But he might cost you those valuable wins at the beginning.
Yeah. That's fair. Jimmy Butler, another guy to bring up. Kind of have to build around him, like tank threes
Yeah,
probably, but otherwise pretty solid in every category.
yeah, he's like another unique player that kind of like that DeMar DeRozan, Giannis type builds player.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to move on to sleepers?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's just each give one. You go first.
Okay, my biggest sleeper is Andre Drummond, and people are
Okay.
going to be shocked by that.
Wow.
I think
I'm
he's
pretty
still
surprised
going
by
to.
that.
I think he's going to go so low that people are like estimating him to get like 6 rebounds a game. He's still going to get you 8 to 10. And if you get 8 to 10 rebounds at like 120, like that's a steal. And
Yeah.
he's a person that could win your rebounds. And let's face it, Embiid doesn't have the greatest health, so he might have a 3 week,
Fair.
4 week period where he's another top 10 guy, right? So
Yeah.
especially if you're in points league, I'd look at Andre Drummond.
Yeah. Should be a double double, 10 and 10, you would think.
Yeah,
Probably a block. Yeah. If you get him like super low, like he didn't even cross my mind to be honest. So
yeah,
he's yeah, he's that's a good one. That's a pretty big sleeper. One guy I was thinking of was Kyle Kuzma. I don't like this has got to be his best year, at least raw numbers wise, right? Like he's got to be up around 16 points at least, you would think, and
yeah.
like 1.5 to 2 threes. I don't know what the efficiency is going to be like, but this is probably the best situation he's been in for his role, you would think.
The only problem is like the Wizards just have so much power forwards.
Yeah, true.
Like they have Rui Hachimura, who's gonna start, who's gonna get 30 minutes. Then they have Davis Bertans off the bench. Like where does that means Kyle Kuzma is a small forward? Me personally, I
Yeah.
don't like small forward Kyle Kuzma. I think power forward Kyle Kuzma is a 20 point scorer in this league.
Mm.
But I think small forward Kyle Kuzma just doesn't have that foot speed to be that guy.
Like real basketball wise, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't like him as small forward, but he's still gonna be making threes. He's still gonna be getting more
yeah.
shots than he ever did as a Laker. So that's just one guy that crossed my mind. What's your next one?
My next one is Al Horford. I think
Mm.
if you could just get a center that shoots good free throw percentage, a couple threes here and there, 14 points, decent amount of points, and then a couple steals and blocks here. He's like a
Mhm.
center if you're building, around like a Trey Young or something where you're just tanking rebounds and blocks.
Yeah,
Al Horford's a center you should look for.
that's a good one. I like that one. Another guy I thought it was Alexander Walker, Nikhil Alexander Walker. I was looking at his
Mm.
splits from last year. Pre All-Star, he only played 18 minutes a game, only 8 points, only 1 3. Post All-Star, he played 28 minutes, scored 15 and a half points, 2.6 threes. Now he's the starting shooting guard on the depth chart, at least for the Pelicans. And I'm expecting to see some numbers closer to that 15 with 2.5 threes, which is obviously pretty valuable.
Yeah, he's pretty good. The question for me is, do you think he starts? We
At
think he
least, like,
should start,
I think he
but
should. Right now on the depth chart, he's listed as a starting two guard.
yeah,
But regardless, he should be playing 25 to 29, 30 minutes a game,
yeah,
you would think.
yeah. If he starts, he's a steal. If he doesn't
Yeah.
start and they start Josh Hart for some reason, which I hope they don't,
Yeah.
I don't think he's that great of a six man because I think his turnovers are going to be so high and his field goal percentage
True.
is so low because he's
True.
going to be asked so much to do off that bench.
True.
But if he
Yeah.
starts, he's going to be great.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
the reason I have him there is because he's listed as a starter. If he were the six man, obviously that completely changes everything.
Changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next guy, I didn't think he was going to be a sleeper or whatever, but I just saw him. His season rank is 137. His projected rank is 131, and he averaged 19.6 points, 3.5 threes. How is Malik Beasley ranked this low? He has to be
Wow.
ranked higher. Yeah.
Wow, that's low.
Yeah. He's not going to go that low in our league.
No.
Like, I can only guarantee it. But if your league, he somehow slips past 100, steal, pick him up because he's going to be great. He's going to get you points. He's going to get you threes. He's going to get you good free throw percentage. He's going to get you low turnovers, only 1.6. Decent rebounds, 4.4.
Plug him
Like,
in
he's
any
gonna-
type of team. Really.
He's going to be great. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be so good.
No, I love that. That's really low. That's surprising. Another guy who there's no secret this guy's good, but Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, is someone to look out for. He's just gonna be, he's starting point guard now.
Yeah.
Second best player behind Bradley Beal. He's gonna have a good season.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he might go high though, because people expect him to come back.
Yeah.
So he's depends on your league, right? If your league is really scared of injuries, like our league is, we might be able to get him for low because our league is scared of injuries. So know your league. If he goes low, go get him.
Yeah.
Another guy I'm going to list out right now is not going to go on low in our league because he's a Toronto Raptor and every Toronto Raptor gets overrated. That's Gary Trent Jr.
Yes.
He only averaged 15.3 points and 2.8 threes last year. Like, he's going to average twice as much threes and he's going to probably go up to that 18 to 20 point range. Like, he's just going to get so much more shots. So he's just going to have that volume increase. So yeah, Gary Trent Jr., if you don't have a lot of Raptors fans, go for him.
He might go, top 3 rounds in
our league. Yeah.
Total wild card. This guy could end up sucking, but Pokashevsky on OKC, he's going to be playing 30 minutes a game. I don't know how many numbers he's going to put up, but he's going to be playing a lot of time, and he's like their second best player. So
yeah, that's crazy, especially at the end of the season when they rest Shea for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, anyone on OKC, the second they rush Shea, everyone's else is going to be like Theo Maledon was playing solid minutes. So it is what it is. Another guy that helped you almost beat me. I won our league, by the way, is Alex Bergs. He got a nice extension. He's a solid role player, and he's just someone who doesn't hurt you, but can help you. You know what I mean? Like, he's someone who can just get you 20 points, not every night, but he'll get you 20, and then he'll get you like 5. So some weeks he'll win you the week. Some weeks he'll be non-existent, but he's a player to look out for because at those late rounds, you just want someone with consistent value, which Alex Brooks kind of gives you.
Yeah, he's the type of guy who will be like on the bubble of being owned or not owned in your league. He probably will be, but if he's not, like, he'll be at the top of the waiver wire, like a few weeks out of the year, because he's gonna go off, like you said, drop like 60 points in a week one time. Yeah, I like that. No, my last guy I have here is Reggie Jackson, starting point guard for the Clippers. Something clicked towards the end of the season and into the playoffs last year. Should be giving you at least 16 to 17 points a game. You would figure with threes, some
Yeah.
assists. Just I like him late.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. The only question about him is how much impact Eric Bledsoe has.
Yeah.
Us Clippers fans, rest of the league is hoping he doesn't have a lot of impact, but it's just a little scary.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's all I got. You got any more sleepers?
Yeah, I got one more guy, and that's the rookie, Kate Cunningham. If he somehow slips past the top 100, like LaMelo Ball slips to 101 in our league, take their chance on the rookie.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did it last year. We were so scared of rookies. We both had questionable picks above him, LaMelo Ball, but like, man, if you see Cade, just take him.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, definitely. Like, we know what Cade is going to be. He's going to be, what, 17?
Like LaMelo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go look at LaMelo's rookie years and expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. Yeah, that pretty much does it for our sleepers. I guess you just talk some strategy, like what some team building strategy. Do you see do you see any situation where you would ever tank points in a fantasy season? It's kind of hard to do that if you're drafting in the top even 15, right?
The only reason I don't tank points is because no one else tanks points, so it's hard to like sell your players. Like, how can you sell?
Right.
Like Marcus Smart's value is so high to teams, but you never see him getting traded in a fantasy year. Because like, how could you sell a Marcus Smart, right? Because like it's hard to it's hard to bring up those sales. Like, I'm always someone who drafts Draymond Green. I think I've owned him the last 3 years. I won 2 championships, so I think he's a great player to own. But no one wants to trade to him. No one's giving me trade offers for Draymond Green because they look at his points and he's averaging like 2 points a game. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, when you tank points, you just essentially kind of shoehorning yourself to not getting any trades done, which is a boring fantasy year. So that's why I don't tank points ever.
That's fair. It does make, picking guys up off the waiver wire a little bit easier because, me personally, like points is the first thing I look at, even though it's only one of 9 categories. I'm like, oh, this guy scored 20 points. Like I want him. So, but yeah, like trade wise, it's obviously hard.
Yeah. And the whole point of fantasy is to have fun, right? So if you're you're just sitting there, not doing any trades and you're barely using the waiver wire, like it's going to not be that fun. Like who could your first pick realistically be?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Like Anthony Davis is an ideal first pick, I guess.
Or if you're in like a super deep league and you get like Jimmy Butler, I don't know. Like that's
even we're in a 16-man league and Jimmy Butler is still a second round guy, early second round guy.
Yeah,
but he's not a first round guy. Maybe if you get 16th and Anthony Davis falls to you, you get like Anthony Davis at 16.
You think you're taking points with Davis? You think he's going to be sub 25?
No, but I mean, like you could build a sub. You can build a tank, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to be you're not going to be like getting 0 points. You still be like decent at points, but Davis and Jimmy Butler, you'll be so good at stocks.
If you draft Davis and you're tanking points with like you go into it, you're like, I want to tank points. That you're just doing that like pretty much because you want. Like there's no reason to be tanking points. Yeah, you're just doing that to be different. Yeah, rebounds is something a little bit easier to tank. Who are some names that you can look for early and mid to like tank rebounds?
Brook Lopez is kind of like the tank rebound center. Everyone kind of goes for him because he gets a lot of threes. He gets no rebounds, and then he gives you good percentages from the free throw. So like he's the guy that people look for. The thing is, everyone looks for him, so he might get a little overvalued. So other alternatives that kind of listed, Al Horford, look for him. Just because you want that center position to not hurt your free throw percentage. Because if you're taking rebounds, you probably have a good free throw percentage.
Jaren Jackson Jr. maybe 7, 8,
maybe
14. Yeah.
He's playing center full time now though, without Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah.
So that might go up. Yeah. Hopefully it goes up. Like from a non-fantasy perspective and like basketball perspective, hopefully it goes up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Assists. A lot of guys come to mind when you're taking assists. I mean, you could if you drafted Curry you could tank assists.
You could tank assists.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had a Curry build which essentially tanked assists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you traded for Devin Booker, which then you switched your team to have good assists. But you had like MPJ, Zion, you kind of had these points guys. And then you filled those around those 3 guys. You just got a bunch of stock guys. So guys that get you steals and threes. And then, you had points, steals, threes with low turnovers and good free throw percentage. So like that's how you kind of build a no assist thing. You go for Steph's points and threes.
Yeah.
and just forget the assists.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. For sure. Tank 3-pointers made, I guess. Giannis.
Giannis. Yeah.
Giannis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Davis. I don't know.
Yeah. Any big Embiid.
It's easy to tank threes. There's a lot of guys like Draymond
Just
Green,
go to
like
the big build. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Play Giannis at power forward or at forward
Even
instead
forward.
of even playing him, as a center and just yeah, exactly.
That's
one of the easiest things to tank in my opinion.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about field goal percentage. Tanking that, it's easy. If you get Trae Young, you can grab like a Fred VanVleet. If you can grab like Draymond Green, or like we mentioned, Kyle Kuzma, like mid late, like
volume guys.
Volume guys.
Grab volume guys. Just shoot, which is what I like building. But the thing is, a lot of people like building that too, because most likely people like those guys that shoot a lot because they're entertaining and they always have bad field goal percentage.
LaMelo,
so that build is much more common than like a big build, just because more people like watching those guys, right? So they favor to that assist, bad field goal percentage, tank that, points and threes, go for that build rather than rebounds, blocks, low turnovers, good field goal percentage, right?
Yeah.
So know your league, know what's good. For us, we have a pretty good balance, I would say. There is some people who try to build the center builds, and there is people who try to build the point guard builds, and there is people like Matt who try to build like points builds, very unique builds. So ours has a good blend, but most times you get away with a center build and kind of just destroy the league.
Yeah. Turnovers kind of goes hand in hand with field goals, right? Like it's the same type of players that LaMelo is, the
same guys,
the Trae Youngs, that kind of stuff. I guess the only thing missing is stocks. If you're taking stocks, Trae Young's another guy to tank stocks. It's kind of hard.
It's hard. You can never tank both stocks. You can only take one or the other because it's hard. It's hard. I've never seen a successful build where you tank both stocks. Someone could try it and prove me wrong, but I don't think that's possible.
That honestly, like taking it upon yourself to try to tank both stocks, that's too stressful. It's not too much.
Yeah,
that's just too hard. That's not even fun at that point.
Yeah, it has to everything has to perfectly fall into place, which it's not going to.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much all the advice I have. You are much more the fantasy expert than I, so if you have any last minute, pieces of advice or guys to watch out for, go ahead.
Make a bunch of trades. That's what I would say. Make a bunch of trades. Be active in the league, because if your activity is going to make everyone else active, and that's going to come around and get you to get more trades at the end of the day. So if you're listening to a basketball podcast, you obviously like basketball a lot. You're going to like fantasy basketball a lot. So just make a bunch of trades.
Yeah.
Be active. You're not going to win every year. Well, we've played five years, I think. I've won 2 out of the 5 years. So I have a 40% win record. Pretty good, I would say myself. And just make a lot of trades. At the end of the day, it most likely will help you.
That's the thing, because in something like fantasy football, right, which is points based, every trade is gonna have a loser, right? Like if I trade, like if I get Zeke Elliott for like a couple other guys, minor guys, and Zeke pops off or doesn't, like someone's losing that trade. But in fantasy basketball, you can literally have a perfectly win-win trade. I suck at these 3 cats. You're good at them. Let's just make a trade and make it happen. So that's why the trade happens pretty much.
We made a trade
every week. Yeah. All right. So that wraps up our fantasy basketball preview episode. Hopefully we gave you guys some good nuggets of advice there for your upcoming drafts, hopefully, which should be coming up very, very soon.
Very soon.
I personally, fantasy keeps me so engaged in the season. It's like it's so much fun to just, watch League Pass, track your guys when it's coming down to Sunday and you need like that one more rebound to win. It's like, there's nothing quite like it. So I hope everyone has success in their season who's listening to this. And other than that, we'll be back next week to talk about, some more NBA stuff because the season is fast approaching. Until then, check us out on Instagram at Stretch the Floor Podcast. Check out our YouTube channel for the best clips, STF clips. Subscribe there. Subscribe and rate and review the podcast on all podcast platforms because it all really helps. And we'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week.